We'd like to welcome everyone here and thank you for being here. I'm Deputy Chief Pete Ritter of the Boise Police Department. Chief Masterson is out of town on family business this week and could not be here. Due to the sensitive nature of this release today, I will be reading a prepared statement. We could only tell you this morning that this was a news briefing the citizens of our community would be very interested in, and that you would not want to miss this opportunity to share the news. We have all been waiting 15 years for this day. I'm very pleased to be able to tell you, after 15 years, more than 1,000 leads, and hundreds of hours put in by detectives, charges have been filed in the murder of Kay Lynn Jackson. Joining me this morning is Boise Police Detective Mark Ayatt, Ada County Prosecutor, Chief of Staff Jan Bennetts, Deputy Prosecutor Scott Bandy, and we are especially grateful to Evelyn and Terry Jackson, Kay Lynn's parents, and her sister Jennifer Lay for being here. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson will have a statement for you in just a moment. April 5th, 1998, the body of Kay Lynn Jackson was found by a fisherman beneath the AmericanABridge. The 22-year-old, carrying her Bible and walking to church that Palm Sunday, had been sexually assaulted and murdered. Detective Mark Ayatt was called to be the lead detective in the case that morning. Again, he stands behind me today, still on the case. The day began 15 years of investigation that have had moments of promise and moments of frustration. Detective Ayatt pursued leads that went throughout Idaho and actually throughout the world. In February 1999, 10 months after Kay Lynn's death, Detective Ayatt was quoted in an article published in the Idaho Statesman newspaper saying, "I have faith that a DNA profile taken from on-scene evidence will ultimately provide information that will give a name to Jackson's killer. Today we have a suspect's name." Patrick John Zacharias, 40, has been charged with rape and murder in the first degree in the death of Kay Lynn Jackson. Zacharias currently resides in the Idaho State Correctional Facility in Boise, where he has been since February of 2007. Zacharias is currently serving a life sentence for lewd conduct with a minor under 16, a crime he committed in Boise August 8 of 2006. He was arrested by Boise police and members of the Treasure Valley Metro Violent Crimes Task Force August 14, 2006. He was convicted and sentenced for lewd conduct with a minor child in February of 2007. During his incarceration, a sample of Zacharias' DNA was taken and entered into a National Crime Information Database, which led to a major break in this case, as Detective Ayatt predicted some 14 years ago. For Boise police, Kay Lynn's case has been active and open since Kay Lynn was killed April 5, 1998. Detective Mark Ayatt and his team exhausted more than 1,000 leads in the case. Some leads were followed several times, and as I said, some led to other states and other countries, and some were received as recently as just a few months ago. The case files in Kay Lynn's case have remained on Detective Ayatt's desk, never more than an arm's reach away. Today, Detective Ayatt is unable to comment on the case publicly, as he will be a member of the prosecution team moving forward. If I may be so bold as to speak for not only members of the Boise Police Department, but for our community when I say thank you to Detective Ayatt for his dedication, and to all the other officers who have worked on Kay Lynn's case, hoping that work would lead us to the charges we can announce today. To Kay Lynn's family, we say thank you for your trust in us that this day would come. We know the people of Boise and the Treasure Valley remember Kay Lynn. We know she and her family have been prayed for. We know citizens have joined us in caring about this case and never losing hope that we would one day be able to name a suspect in Kay Lynn's death. We spent 15 years searching for answers for this community and for Kay Lynn's family. Kay Lynn came from a close and loving family. No family deserves to go through what they have endured. It is for the memory of Kay Lynn, a truly innocent victim, and because of the trust that her family placed in us, that has kept us on this case. Please remember the filing of charges in Kay Lynn Jackson's case marks a major step, but just one more step in the process of justice for Kay Lynn. There may be more questions and more answers that will come, but they must now come in the due process of our court system. The case is now in the very capable hands of the Ada County Prosecutor's Office. I would like to introduce Ada County Prosecutor's Office Chief of Staff Jan Bennetts.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Ritter. On April 5th, 1998, our community was shaken by the murder of 22-year-old Kay Lynn Jackson. 15 years later, I am pleased to announce that an Ada County grand jury has returned an indictment charging Patrick John Zacharias with Kay Lynn's rape and first-degree murder, bringing Kay Lynn's family one step closer to justice. Kay Lynn's case is an example of how law enforcement is never idle and ever vigilant in solving cold cases in the pursuit of justice. It is an example of how investigators take a fresh look at those cold cases with each scientific advancement and with each and every lead. I want to personally thank the Boise Police Department and especially Detective Mark Iott for their tireless efforts in investigating this case, pursuing every lead, and ensuring that Kay Lynn's murder was never forgotten. I know this case has been a constant and heavy weight on Detective Iott's shoulders. We are also grateful to Kay Lynn's family for their strength and for their support of our office. As you know, our work now begins. We have assigned 2 senior trial prosecutors to handle this case, Scott Bandy and Shelley Akamatsu. They have been working very hard and diligently on this case in cooperation with the Boise Police Department. It's also important for all of us to recognize that the facts and details of this case should be revealed only through the court proceedings and not in the setting that we're in here today. However, I can tell you that Mr. Zacharias was transported from the prison where he resides currently. He was transported to the Ada County Jail where he was served with the arrest warrant in this case. He is currently being held without bond. He's scheduled today for an initial appearance this afternoon at 1:30, where the magistrate judge will advise him of the charges, and he will be scheduled for an arraignment in front of the district court judge. I also want to tell you that the maximum penalty for first-degree murder is life in prison unless the state seeks the death penalty. That is a decision which this office does not take lightly, and we have not yet made that decision. It will only be made after we consider all of the factors, including statutory factors, and after giving it thoughtful consideration. That decision has not yet been made. We do look forward to our hard work that's ahead in the pursuit of justice in this case. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jan. I'd like to introduce now Terry and Evelyn Jackson, Kay Lynn's father and mother, and her sister Jennifer Lay.
April 5th, 1998, our lives were changed forever. We would like to thank the Boise Police Department for their continuous service these past 15 years to solve the case against our beloved Kay Lynn Jackson. Being a Christian, she attended church every Sunday. Her faith in God has kept us going in these past years. We want to thank our family, friends, and community for their support over the years.
Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, thank you, and Jennifer, thank you as well. I know that our prayers and thoughts are with you. The family has asked us to ask members of the media to please respect their privacy from this point forward. Finally, I would like to thank the patrol officers, detectives, victim witness services, crime lab specialists from Boise, Idaho State Police, and federal agencies who have all stayed on this case. Countless law enforcement agencies from all over the world have assisted Boise Police in searching for justice for Kay Lynn. Some employees have ended their law enforcement careers without having the answers they worked so hard to find. Again, our announcement today is a major step, but just one more step in bringing justice to Kay Lynn, her family, and this community. You may have more questions that we have been able to answer here today, However, because of the need to protect the integrity of the court process, we cannot take any questions at this time. And instead, we urge you to follow this case as it moves through the court system. Thank you.